What a great pleasure it is to welcome our first speaker from SAP, and Hardeep Sound is the Regional Director for SAP East Africa, and it's just a great pleasure to welcome you on board, Hardeep. How are you doing, firstly?
I'm well, thanks, Aki. It's a pleasure being on board here. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
No, that's fantastic. I see you're the Regional Director for SAP East Africa. Can you just tell us a little bit about your role, please?
Great. So, first of all, I'm actually based in the beautiful city of Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow.
I've been with SAP for just over 3 years now. And my role really is to head the operations right from sales all the way till ensuring that we provide the right value to our customers within this region. And I look after the entire East African region, which includes countries like Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Rwanda. We've also been able to support the likes of South Sudan, as well as Eritrea and Burundi from the Nairobi office here as well.
Wow, what an exciting portfolio. And I guess it pivots quite nicely to my first question, because, you've been there for 3 years. You've had extensive experience in this in the IT sector, so you've seen a lot. But the last 3 years, I bet you've never seen anything like it. I certainly haven't in the 3 decades of my career. And everyone's talking about digitization. It is the new buzzword post-COVID. If you look at what's been happening and this massive process of really modernizing infrastructure and modernizing companies' digital assets, now when you look at post-COVID, how can private and public sector organizations accelerate their digital transformation even further?
That's a great question to start off with, Aki. I mean, my straightforward response to that would be using technology to innovate and drive adoption at all levels within your digital transformation process. And if we look at even from the onset, from when COVID hit us in 2019, beginning of 2020, even the most reluctant businesses and consumers, have been forced to come online, and there is no going back. At the start of the pandemic, there was a sense of urgency around things like enabling remote work for employees, ensuring basic business continuity. We were more or less in survival mode, and as the pandemic lingered on, it shifted more to building resilience in business operations as well as supply chain, and the real opportunity to me lies in innovating to take advantage of new business opportunities. Think about how retailers are quickly moving to online, right? How, for example, the pharmacies have moved to home delivery models. In Kenya, for example, we saw the public sector, the government, requesting or rather challenging the likes of the Kenya Wine Agency as well as Kenya Pipeline to manufacture and to distribute sanitizers during this pandemic period to the rural and to the remotest of areas of the country. So this in itself, is a great innovative way that we can learn from and move forward with it. Yeah, I mean.
No, I think there's so many golden nuggets in that particular comment that you've made now, because really we were in survival mode, and when you're uncomfortable and when you're vulnerable, be it human or be it in a business, I feel it brings out the best in us, right? Because we try and come out of that situation, so we look at opportunities that will get us out of there. And you raised some great opportunities, how organizations have moved to platforms like e-commerce, for example, and looked at different revenue streams in order to survive, but focusing on their core business at the same time. And it's so important. And I guess the glue that holds all of this together is the cloud, right? And I shudder to think what would have happened if we had had this pandemic, say, 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, when the cloud wasn't in its maturity that it is now. So why is the cloud so important to your strategy, and how relevant is this for Africa?
So, for SAP, most of the innovation, the research and development that has happened over the years, over the 5-10 years, in terms of making technology readily available to our consumers, to our customers, has been really focused around cloud. And this is a key pillar for us. This is a key pillar for our growth. It's a key pillar that basically builds our strategy as a whole. So cloud, for that matter, it allows innovation. It allows agility in a very cost-effective manner, right? For customers of all sizes. Generally, across the continent, we're currently seeing a very strong uptake in cloud solutions, particularly among the small and medium enterprises. Now, cloud, as I mentioned, provides a very cost-effective and level playing field for SMEs to thrive. It allows countries in Africa to leapfrog legacy technologies in the same way that the mobile did, right? Cloud is helping us build intelligent enterprises across industries, supply chain, manufacturing, retail, public sector, you name it, right? SAP today, and that's why I said cloud is extremely important for us and our growth. SAP today provides an end-to-end business process automation portfolio that covers all the business functions and the business streams, including finance, procurement, supply chain, sales and distribution, asset management, and further to that, specific to industries, right? Utilities, retail, and so on. We have solutions that are already available for our customers on the cloud platform.
Okay, and here's the thing as well is that SAP available on many different cloud platforms. So you're not kind of restricted to say, I can't go there because it's not available there. And when you look at the success that SAP has been having on the cloud with SAP HANA, for example, I mean, what an incredible platform. It's a no-brainer, right? And the small and medium-sized businesses, I'm so glad you raised that, because that is the heart. This is the engine of every economy. We've got to look after those small and medium-sized enterprises. But sometimes the challenge with change and disruption, as we've seen over the last 2.5 years, is that people don't quite know where to start. Let's be honest. Many accelerated their journey to the cloud and adopting all of these technologies you've been talking about. Are there priorities that businesses should focus on?
Absolutely. And Aki, that really is a great question. I mean, I would say in my view, there are about 4 priorities or things that businesses really should consider. All right. The first one that comes to mind is speed. Speed is of the essence. Companies can't take years really to consider digital options anymore. And then more time rather, to implement those solutions. Right? They must simplify decision making. They must take steps with urgency, even if it means taking those smaller steps at a time, right? And getting to the next level fairly quickly, right? Effective utilization of cloud technologies, for example, could enable small and large enterprises to test new digital channels, business processes that can be quickly scaled to serve existing customers or to reach new ones for that matter. So speed, definitely. The other one that I would really mention is build back more sustainability, right? COVID and other global crises have highlighted that we can't simply go back to business the way it used to be before. It's not sustainable. The economic conditions and the environment risks cannot be ignored. The changing climate. We have a dire impact on East Africa, for example, from recent data that indicates, we've had 4 failed rains in a row, right? Seasons of rain in a row, right? In some parts of Kenya, in some parts of Ethiopia, and this is crazy. It's affecting the agriculture, it's affecting the economy, right? Considering the importance of agriculture, let's talk about that to the region's economic prospect. It is essential that we put all efforts into the potential impact of the climate, right? That it's having on agriculture. Another way of looking at sustainability is in the manufacturing industry, right? This is another one of the region's most important industries, which currently accounts for 8.9% of East Africa's GDP. But it's expected to grow and contribute 25% by the year 2032. So this presents a golden opportunity for the region's innovators to design more sustainable processes. And by ensuring sustainability is embedded into every manufacturing process, East Africa, in my view, could achieve an economic growth while limiting the severity of the climate impact on the future generations. Right?
Wow, lots to think about over there. And you know, it's interesting. You focus on these businesses and you look at globally what's taking place and how, as a continent, we're still importing grain, which, you know, we've got such fertile lands. There's so much opportunity on the continent. And even when you look at those undersea cables that are servicing us, if you compare, say, 10 years to what we've got now, the amount of capacity that's going along the west coast and the east coast of Africa, and the amount of data centers that are being built, certainly the infrastructure to allow for this economic growth that you're talking about and that disruption in the digital sense that you're talking about, the tools are there. When you look at those specific industry sectors in East Africa, I'm interested to know which are those sectors in East Africa, for example, that could benefit the most from the digitization you talk about.
Yeah, and that's great because, you know, in my opinion, I believe, first of all, that every industry can make gains from digitization, right? And from the East African context, if I was to give you more specific examples, then I would look at manufacturing as one of them, pharmaceuticals as another, tourism and agriculture. You know, those are the four key, more important sectors or industries that would most benefit from digitization. If I can break it down a little bit more, manufacturing, for example, to just share some statistics with you, our B2B spending in African manufacturing sector has been predicted to be reaching about 1 trillion by the year 2050, and that's a huge opportunity if we look at it. $1 trillion is huge, considering the important economic role that manufacturing plays in East Africa specifically. Investments into technology that can foster greater global competitiveness in the region, in the region's manufacturing sector, could unlock much of this potential to the benefit of the economies in East Africa. And then, so the question then would be, how can manufacturing sector achieve this? Okay, we need to focus on building the Industry 4.0 capabilities that bring together the next generation technologies such as AI, such as robotic process automation, industrial IoT, and predictive analytics. And these are the ones that can bring unprecedented control, predictability, and efficiency to the manufacturing operations. If I further look at the pharmaceutical sector, research and development initiatives hold the potential of unlocking tremendous economic advantages and stimulating foreign direct investment. That's what we need. However, Africa lags far behind compared to the more developed nations in research and development spending, right? And this basically results that majority of the products and services are actually being imported into Africa from those more developed nations, right? What we need to do perhaps is get the policymakers and the industry leaders who should look at the opportunity, for greater regional investment into R&D, and then draw from international best practices. These guys have already, got mature operations in place. Today, for example, 18 of the world's 20 largest vaccine producers run their production facilities using SAP technologies. So why not borrow from them? Why not learn from them and avoid these costly mistakes and fast track the success, fast track the manufacturing within and R&D within East Africa, or within Africa for that matter. So that's.
No, listen, it makes complete sense. And also, Hardeep, if you look at where East Africa is positioned, right, you've got Asian markets very close to you. You've got the European markets up north as well. I mean, the positioning is absolutely perfect when you want to access those kind of markets. But as you say, you've got to apply those technologies and be a step above the rest, because at the moment, technology is the one thing that is going to increase your competitiveness compared to what your competitors are doing. And if you stay stagnant, your competitors are going to apply these technologies and do that whole manufacturing and pharmaceutical process a lot better.
You're absolutely right. And if we don't do that, guess what? We're still going to be in the same position. We're still going to import those services, those products from outside of the continent. And that doesn't help our economic growth, which doesn't help businesses grow, which doesn't help anything else, around development. So it's a big impact.
So look, let's dive a little bit deeper into your region, which is East Africa. How is East Africa doing in that digital transformation space? And do you have, for example, some case studies, some customers that are embracing this that you can share with us? What kind of digital transformation is happening along in East Africa?
And that's good because we've been in business in East Africa for more than 20, 25 years or so. As you know, SAP has been now in business for 50 years. This year is the 50th anniversary. And in Africa, we've been here for more than 30 years. So over the years, we've also been able to engage our customers, our prospects, and help them run their businesses better using SAP technologies. And if East Africa, for that matter, is well known for its innovation. The vibrant tech startup ecosystem gave it the name Silicon Savannah, right? And there is optimism. There is optimism in the market at present around growth opportunities, right? We can do more. We can do more within the private and the public sector to take advantage of these opportunities. But I can highlight a few of the customers and the references that we have within East Africa who are using SAP solutions and technologies and really achieving or attaining some very interesting and vital benefits. I'll give you an example, perhaps maybe of each country if I can. In Uganda, we have an organization called Umeme, and this is the equivalent of ESCOM in South Africa, for example. They're the utility company, and they're using S4 HANA. They've implemented it. They focus on the implementation has been focused on financial and controlling, material management, and this has been able to give the customer visibility into their assets and allow them to greatly reduce their stock issues, which was a main issue before. So that's one of the ways Umeme has benefited. In Kenya, we have a National Social Security Fund, right? And they also implemented SAP. And what NSSF has gained is real-time reporting capabilities across the organization with the ability to have better visibility around risks and have control measures around that, right? So this is how they have been able to align to their risk strategy, right, by implementing our solution. In Ethiopia, if we go up north, we have another utility company, Ethiopian Electric Utility, and they rolled out S4HANA as well. And this allowed them to really provide a better service and specifically visibility into their billing, which was a mess before they actually implemented, right? There were a lot of leakages, flaws, and so on, but this helped them control that. In Rwanda, I can take an example of Rwanda as well. We have a customer called Crystal Ventures, and this customer is today using our SuccessFactors HXM solution. They're using our SAP S4HANA as well. And since the go live, the senior management has basically been able to gain real-time visibility over the performance of project managers, which has contributed to greater efficiency and revenue growth across the construction and manufacturing companies, because they're a conglomerate and their primary focus is really around construction and manufacturing. Then if I bring it back to Uganda, we have a customer here called Movit Products, and they are into beauty and healthcare products. And these guys implemented SAP S4HANA as well, and now they're experiencing improved turnaround time for reporting, which used to take them over 2 months in the past. And after implementing SAP S4HANA, they're now able to achieve that within a couple of days. So this has also given them greater insight into their business, into their management, and the management team really can have full view of the product profitability, the stocks that are available, and all the sales information that allows them to also look at lead times and closure. So these are some of the examples.
No, Yeah, no. Listen, it's such a great company. I mean, you look at the processes. You know, I remember, I'm going back now like 18 years ago, before SAP HANA was around. You know, and I was in Germany, and I remember
Yes.
visiting your headquarters in Waldorf. And when I got there, I'd read a lot about SAP, but I didn't quite understand what they did and how it all came together and how it worked. But after spending a few days there and looking at the processes and how it all works and how it all fits in together, and that was like 15 years ago, and you put the changes over time with artificial intelligence and big data and analytics and the stuff that we've been talking about, and the businesses that you've described, you're almost building this like a nervous system, so you know exactly what your business is doing at any time, and you're getting those incredible dashboards with that incredible insight into your business, which is absolutely amazing. Now, it's quite clear that there are enormous opportunities. You've just touched on them for technology to literally transform the East African economy. Now, I imagine it's not all plain sailing. There are obstacles. What have you identified as those obstacles to unlocking that economic value?
Fantastic question, Aki, and yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know, we've had, obviously, it's not all a great 25 years. You know, we've had challenges, we've had environmental issues, and so on and so forth. But the key obstacle, or the greatest obstacle in my view in this region, is really the lack of skills. You know, the lack of skills that spans across not just our customers but our partners that we're trying to help develop, and so on. And this is one of the greatest obstacles right now. A lot of the time we have to import skill sets. We have to bring skill sets from outside of this region. And this is what I think we need to fix in East Africa. And it's like, you know, East Africa is fast growing. You know, they have a huge youth population. And it's critical that we help this population to gain the skills that are relevant for them to get employment, and that contributes to the economic growth. You know, SAP today supports a program called YPP, a Young Professionals program that is triggered to youth skills development. And this helps graduates get employment, get the skills that they really need to bridge the gap between academic knowledge and business-ready skills. All right. So really, it serves a dual purpose for providing the youth with a career development opportunity and employment opportunity as well. You know, and then it also ensures, with this program also ensures that we are able to provide a steady supply of fit-for-purpose skills to the private and to the public sector within East Africa. And within Africa itself, because, you know, to date we have had over 1,700 graduates across 22 countries in Africa, right? And out of those, 95% have been placed in jobs after their certification. So it's an extensive program, 3 to 6 months. You know, we take them through different types of skills, hard skills, soft skills, and through a certification program. And this has actually worked wonders. And this is just one of the areas that SAP is helping develop capacity within this region.
No, that's fantastic. I was going to say skills when I was talking about that, because that is it is the biggest problem, right? That faces the industry globally. In fact, the lack of skills, and I imagine it's even the contrast is even sharper in East Africa and other parts of Africa, where we are in desperate need of these skills. If someone, Hardeep, is watching this, a young person, or there's a father or a mother or a guardian, whoever's listening to this, and say, listen, I want to follow through what Hardeep is talking about, and I want to get onto one of these programs. How does one do that? How does one get in touch with SAP and find out more information? I imagine it's all there on the website. Where would they find those details?
So if anyone wants to explore further with regards to these programs, and we have a number of others, right? We have the Code Week and so on and so forth that really centered around helping communities develop their skills around digitization, computer automation, and stuff like that. The first stop point is obviously our website. You go to our website, sap.com, and basically search for YPP, or search for Code Week or any related education programs, right? And you'll find a lot of information there. And you can actually have the ability to connect with us from that point forward, right? And that's the first point that I would say. Then, of course, then there's regional offices. We have in East Africa, in Kenya, we have the regional offices. In South Africa, in Johannesburg, in Cape Town. We also have offices in West Africa, in Lagos, in Nigeria. So those are also points that can be reached to further explore the opportunities that could exist here. We have a dedicated team that supports the YPP program, for example, right? And they also publish articles and updates on our website. So that's one of the areas that I would highly recommend anyone interested.
Fantastic. Hardeep Sound, who's the regional director for SAP East Africa, sharing his insights with us, based in Kenya. That was absolutely insightful, and I didn't quite realize the different focus on industries on the East African side of the continent, and the tremendous opportunity that lies there. Hardeep, thank you very much for joining us on What's Next.
It's my pleasure, Aki, and great being here. Thank you so much.